Welcome back to the Deep Dig, a sports pod. I'm your host, Drew. My other host, right over there.
What's up? It's D. Good to see you again. I'm pretty pumped. It was an awesome week 2 in NFL. Today we are digging into the 49ers taking on and defeating the Rams, but the Rams have a late cover. The 49ers have a short week and they're taking on the Giants on Thursday Night Football. Colorado. This is an unofficial Colorado podcast now. Dion put on one of the best games in ESPN history. We're also touching base on the Jets. It looks like a dumpster fire waiting to happen, as well as digging into the disco. But before we get into that, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe and go ahead and drop some comments because it really helps us out.
And let's get right into the conspiracy theory of, did the NFL ruin that ruin that spread for the Rams 49ers game? Was that rigged? Did you see the ref at the end of the game?
He hurried up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fucking
And then
crazy.
you're going to clock it with 3 seconds left in a 10-point game?
And then on second down, just kick the field goal for no reason when usually people just take a Hail Mary shot.
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot
That
of
was weird.
people being like, "Well, it's for tiebreakers later on." When are
Mm-mm.
you thinking about tiebreakers in week 2?
I don't know, dude. Maybe it was for tiebreaker. Maybe that was what popped into his head at that time. But I'm sure everybody knows what the spread is. You know what I mean? It's 7.5. Like, hey, let's cover this thing.
You don't
Or
think
like,
McVay was like, "Fuck these Niners fans getting a cover"?
you know what I think too? I think it just like as a football coach, it's different to lose by double digits than to lose by 7. So I think that's what it was more than the spread. I think it's like, hey, you know what? Let's get some points. We only lost by a touchdown. We
Weird,
can work with that.
weird ending. I don't
Yeah.
know. Conspiracy theorists. I'm starting to see your viewpoint a little bit. But what did you think about the game overall?
Man, honestly, I was very surprised by the Rams. I think like if they had Puka Nakua and Cooper Cup on the same field, that's pretty dangerous. And then if they trade for Jonathan Taylor, like, hey, that's a pretty scary little offense there. We see they had to bench Cam Akers, and Cam Akers tweeted, like, because he wasn't there, he tweeted, I'm just surprised as y'all. It's like, bro, what? What
Like,
are you doing?
can we get this guy out of there? Like, what are we doing, McVay? Like, you're just playing with Cam Akers' emotions right now.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on with that. Like, just get him the fuck out of there at this point. Like, it's pretty ridiculous. Uh, but it was one of the quote unquote uglier wins for Brock Purdy, but the team still put up 30 points. And against a division rival, they got the job done. You get the dub, you get out of there. He missed like 3 throws deep. And honestly, I'm not really mad at it. Like, it is what it is. One throw was to Brandon Ayuk. I don't think Ayuk really he was coming off injury. His neck was hurt. So when he did that uh, cut to the outside, I just don't think he was running full speed and Brock overthrew that. So like that's understandable. The other two were just overthrows. I thought it was a solid game, not a bad game, not a great game, but I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, when your quarterback doesn't have the best game and you're putting up 30 points, I know the Rams aren't the most talented team right now in terms of their complete roster. Um, but yeah, you got to feel great about your team if your quarterback has one of his worst games, one of his most down games, and you're putting up 30 points.
Yeah.
Like, if this was Jimmy G, we'd probably be talking 12, 14 points.
I mean, we sat through a lot of those games over the years. Like that's kind of what it looked like.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm feeling really good about Brock. He'll pull it together. He'll hit some of those eventually. The defense looking solid. I think just all around solid performance. There was nothing that like was too egregious. Nothing stood out crazy. Um, yeah, like Ayuk, scary situation for a second when he went down, but came back in. McCaffrey looks
Dog. Dog.
dog, but like Kyle, no other running back is gonna play ever. Like McCaffrey, is he gonna be good to go week 17?
I mean, at this point, Kyle doesn't care. He's like, "Let's get these dubs." But, like, yeah, it's interesting to see, like, there is no change of pace back. Like, it is, "Hey, I'm the workhorse. I got this," from McCaffrey. Does that I'm waiting. I thought maybe we would see a switch up this week. Maybe it comes because the Giants are gonna be without Saquon Barkley. I feel like they just don't have the offensive firepower or the defense to keep up with this team. I feel like maybe, but even then, it's like, "Yo, I'm gonna have McCaffrey run for 300 yards." Like, dude, chill.
Dude, like even like these 2 games where we're clearly gonna win and he's still pounding the ball with McCaffrey. It just gets me a little worried long term for this guy. But other
Can
than
we
that,
get fucking Kittle involved in the red zone? Like, what are we doing?
yeah,
That's my
Kittle,
one thing is, like, can we activate Kittle a little bit more? We have, like, the best tight end in the league. Let's let him showcase that. But I get it. The right side of the line, I don't know if you've seen this tweet floating around for PFF. Spencer Burford was the worst offensive guard, apparently. He had like a 0 on pass protection. I don't think he looked that bad, but that's crazy. So I get that Kittle has to stay and be like another offensive lineman, but
is another tackle out there.
can we fucking just get one of the other tight ends to do that? And so Kittle can actually go do his job?
I think Kyle in his mind has just decided Ayuk, Debo, and McCaffrey are my weapons. Kittle, Juice, and Jawan Jennings, you're blocking this year. And don't even look for a ball. Like just block. But I mean, Jawan Jennings he's been killing it as a blocker. And then whenever it's come his time to get that clutch catch, he's there to get it.
He's there, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we won a lot of bets last year on Jawan Jennings just being that clutch guy, getting that hitting that over on his yards. So I'm thinking later in the season we're definitely going to be looking at that. But it's surprising though we're not going deep in the depth chart to kind of relieve some of these guys when we do have kind of a little bit of an injury prone roster.
Yeah. But I mean, it was a close game. It was a close game, the majority of this game. So I understand it. Looking forward into next week where the 49ers are opening up at home, which we are going to be attending. I'm pretty fucking pumped about that.
Yeah, if you're going to be at the game, let us know in the comments.
Yeah. So pretty pumped about that. But the Giants come limping into Levi's Stadium after their come from behind win. They didn't look great against the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, they came back, but the Cardinals were up big on them. They lose Saquon Barkley. Daniel Jones looks to be struggling. Like, how are you feeling about this? And just to tell you, the line right now,
10.
10 and a half.
Whew, they're going to be a last second field goal to ruin that spread.
Cover.
Make sure you guys are subscribed and following us because we do the Diamond Pick of the Week every Saturday. Well, every day before the game. Since this is Thursday, we'll probably have to do this
Tomorrow,
Wednesday. So make sure you subscribe Wednesday this week. We're doing the Diamond Pick where we give you the best 49ers bets before the game. But this should be a blowout. I mean, the way we were talking about the Rams saying that it should be an easy win, this should be a cakewalk for the 49ers. Like I'm hoping get up 14-0, coast.
Yeah, and I don't know. I really felt like this, like looking at the schedule, this is going to be a tough game because you had the Giants coming off of a playoff win, not just a playoff appearance, a playoff win. They were they rewarded Daniel Jones with a contract. They got Saquon under the franchise tag. Kayvon Thibodeau is talking shit to Joe Staley online. Like, so there is a little bit of like kind of bad blood off the field. And now it's looking like this is just going to be a wash. Like I'm excited just because it is the home opener. I would have much rather it been like the Detroit Lions. Like, let's go ahead and do that. Or let's do like the Bengals, something like where it gets my juices going. The Ravens would have been fun. But I mean, you play who you play. And like, I think it is going to be a blowout.
And it's gonna be a good. I mean, I don't mind attending a game live that is a blowout. So I know it's gonna be a win. I know I'm just gonna have a good time. Gonna watch some highlights. and that's it. You don't got to stress about it. I don't expect Daniel Jones to come in here and like carry to a win for them. I'd be pretty surprised, but I mean, I guess you never know with the NFL.
I mean, this was a team that gave up 17 points at half to the, the Rams who didn't really have that offensive it was Puka Nacua by himself pretty much, you know what I mean? So, that was a little bit concerning coming out of that game, like, and we know historically the 49ers have struggled with mobile quarterbacks. See Justin Fields last year, people that can extend the play out. So maybe Daniel Jones does get out of the pocket. Maybe he does rush for some yardage. And maybe that is like the X factor when it comes to defeating this 49ers team.
We'll see, man. I think they just overpaid Daniel Jones. I didn't believe in him. Um, he had a great playoff game last year, but I would have gave all that money to Saquon, and then hey, Daniel
Well, and
Jones,
then he got hurt. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
That
Well,
looks good.
I'm saying give that money to Saquon, Daniel Jones, get a team friendly deal going, and then let's get some more people in here to help you out because you're not one of those quarterbacks who is going to carry us if Saquon goes down. I mean, and now that you kind of not given a great deal to Saquon, what incentive does he have to come back and get back on the field in time?
I mean, that's true. I got hurt on company time. I'm a rehab on company time.
All right, I want to talk about kind of running back injuries in general coming up, but just final thoughts on this 49ers Giants game.
Yeah. So I'm of the agreement this is going to be a blowout. I just wanted to give, the devil's advocate. What if Daniel Jones runs all over? Um, I think that this is going to be a, I mean,
We
what we've
expect him.
seen the Cowboys defense do to this Giants offensive line, it really does hype me up to see what can Nick Bosa, Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead, and Drake Jackson really do to this offensive line. If the Cowboys were getting off on them, the 49ers are going to go to town. It's going to be a 10-sack day.
We expecting Nick Bosa breakout game right now.
He could use it. I mean, he did play. He did play good. He didn't get a sack. He got a lot of pressures, got a lot of rushes, got a lot of QB hits. So felt good there, but he just needs to. It just needs to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hope Ayuk has another big game. I hope he just keeps building up this season resume for maybe a Pro Bowl,
Go
All
ahead and
Pro
shut him
level.
down. Shut him down. We can't pay him.
I think he deserves it, man. He's looking great. Debo, he's been doing his thing. McCaffrey, obviously. Honestly, I hope McCaffrey just gets a rest game with this one. Like I don't want you to go for 150 every game. I want you to be there for playoffs. So we will see. Kittle, let's go Kittle.
Kittle,
Let
give him Kittle.
let us know in the comments what you think is going to happen. Are we going to cover that 10-point spread because that is pretty big?
That's
Um,
crazy.
or is the NFL not going to allow it and force the Giants to kick a last second field goal? Let us know. Moving into our next topic, I know we were talking about Saquon Barkley's injury. Nick Chubb just went down on Monday Night Football, so
It
I
was disgusting.
yeah, there's actually been
Hey,
a lot of running back injuries this year, like J.K. Dobbins. I seen Jamal Williams got banged up. Um,
Jonathan Taylor's hurt,
Jonathan Taylor's hurt.
or quote unquote hurt.
Yeah, how are we feeling about Nick Chubb or just like all these running backs kind of going down in a time where they're not secure in their contracts?
So, thoughts and prayers out to Nick Chubb because not only did he have this injury, which looks horrific, he had that one in college where his leg bent backwards. Like, I don't know if you remember that. So, two of the like worst looking injuries that I've seen in a while, and it's both on the same leg. So, I don't know if he's going to be able to, really bounce back from that and be the same player that he is because it is that same leg. But I don't know if you've seen the NFL has filed grievance against the NFLPA because supposedly they were encouraging running backs to, hey, just say you're injured. Just take your time when you are injured. So the NFLPA has come out and said like these allegations are ridiculous, but it does get you like wondering like, okay, well, does Jonathan Taylor's back really hurt? Like, what's going on with this guy? Or like it is all adding up. And some of these are very serious injuries because it is again one of the more war on positions in the NFL. As a running back, you're taking hit after hit after hit. But I mean, we've seen like it doesn't help their argument for getting more money. You know what I mean?
No timeline on Austin Eckler to come back yet either. Another guy who's fighting
Mm.
for contract. It's they need to rethink this whole running back contract situation because what all these guys are fighting for is that long-term security, and we just saw 5, 6 guys go down, and
Some of the best guys in the league. Yeah.
yeah, and now we have what, elite 4, 5, 6 weeks of football where there's not that many premier backs, going on around the league. So that's I think, in my opinion, in the end, that's hurting the NFL's brand. That's hurting your product. So can we find a way that we can adjust the cap or we can adjust the amount that we're allowed to pay these guys without affecting the cap? Or there has to be some kind of give and take with this because this I mean, look at McCaffrey right now. He's one of the ones getting paid, but Kyle is running him into the ground right now. You think if he is so banged up that he's not the same guy next year, that Kyle's just gonna keep that we're gonna give him another contract, we're gonna keep paying him? Like they're gonna cut him loose.
Yeah, man. I mean, but again, if you do it for the running backs, what about like the offensive linemen? What about the safeties? What about the backers? Like they have to cover these guys. Like it's the NFLPA's fault. They just don't have they're fucking stupid. They just didn't have the juice. They didn't have the forethought to think about like these contracts. Instead, they went for days off. Instead, they went for things that really didn't matter. Smoking weed. They went for like things like that when they should have been fighting for more cash. Like, let's get some of the like let's abolish the draft if that's how you guys really feel. Like now that conversation has been brought up by Caleb Williams and Caleb Williams' dad. Like this is kind of dumb that we have to go to the worst team in the league. We don't want to. And like just like now conversations are being thrown out there that I'm sure the NFLPA was like, what? What do you mean? This is
Yeah.
crazy.
How many quarterbacks does Arizona and the Bears have to ruin before we get rid of the draft?
Let's go to relegation. Let's bring up the national champion every single year from college football, and they replace the Bears.
If our fantasy league could do an auction draft, then so can the NFL, you know?
Yeah, man. I mean, I just think that like the NFLPA has done the least amount for their players of any of the major leagues. Baseball has guaranteed contracts. The NBA, every year, NFL players are like, I fucked up. I played the wrong sport. Like, look at this like mid-tier guy that's getting X amount of millions when Lamar Jackson is really struggling to get Bradley Beal money. Like,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Well, just staying on this really quick, the Nick Chubb. Browns actually were looking pretty decent. I mean, they weren't looking explosive on offense, but their defense is nice. They were 1-0 and then barely lost this game. How are we feeling about their chances going forward now?
Deshaun Watson, like, he looks washed.
Yeah.
He does not look good. If it wasn't for his contract, like, they might, like, think about looking to the rookie, Dorian.
Star. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, they might think about doing but your contract eliminates that immediately. Like, just stupid mistakes by Deshaun Watson. He actually, pushed a ref too. I don't know if you've seen that. And so people are like, "Is he gonna get suspended?" Who knows? So it's I don't I think you're gonna need a fresh start.
In a year that's wide open for their division. Like the Steelers, I mean, we saw what the Niners did to them. The Ravens, they're looking pretty solid, but I mean, they're not blowing teams out right now, so I think they are beatable. And then the Bengals are not looking great.
Yeah, Burrow still looks hurt. And
Yeah.
they are gonna evaluate him for Monday night to see if he's actually gonna be able to go.
So a Browns team that's built on defense in the run game probably would be, you know, primed to take this division right now, but not looking great.
Are they gonna trade for Jonathan Taylor?
I don't think so. I don't think anyone's moving
Because
for Jonathan Taylor because then you got to give up the capital and you got to give up the picks.
I don't know, man. Like, if you're a team that is, like, built like this in a division where, hey, it's kinda up for grabs, you might as well think about it. You've already kinda given up your future. You have Deshaun Watson. You better just give him the tools.
I don't know. I don't think it's gonna happen. He's too much capital you got to give away and then pay to him, especially when you have arguably the best running back in the league already on your roster.
2
Um,
leg breaks are 2 very, very bad injuries, though. That does add up. Like, there were 2 of the worst ones that I've seen. So,
we'll see. We'll see. Moving on to our next topic, the Jets. I mean, we could just really quickly touch base on this because rumblings were Aaron Rodgers, give him your doubts because he's gonna prove you wrong. Uh, Supposedly he wants to come back this season to play, but we just saw the Jet. You were telling me before this game if Zach
all they had to
Wilson,
do was, get to the wild card game. All Zach Wilson has to do from there is just win that one game, and then Aaron Rodgers should be. So Aaron Rodgers had an experimental surgery that could have him back by mid-January. Mid-January would set up for him being in the divisional round of the playoffs. So
and you
that's
were
where this
texting
was.
me that Zach Wilson, he just has to
All he
play
has
it
to
safe,
do.
game manager, and get him to the playoffs. I'm like, bro, we saw this. He's not gonna lead them to the playoffs, and then he goes and throws 3 interceptions. They get blown out. So Aaron Rodgers, just take it easy, man. You know they're not gonna make playoffs.
I mean, I don't know what to say at this point. Like, Zach Wilson looks like a bust, and, like, that's one of those things, like, nobody was criticizing, just like nobody was really criticizing, or yeah, people were, but, like, not in the minority, they were Trey Lance because we had Brock Purdy. It's the same thing on the Jets side. Like, nobody was criticizing the Zach Wilson pick because you weren't rolling him out in year 3. You were rolling out Aaron Rodgers, but the football gods laugh at your plan, and, you have to roll him out, and he looks bad. Like, it just doesn't look like an NFL quarterback should. And so you kind of got to bite the bullet. And I think they're going to have to pick up a vet in free agency and just see what he has. Like, because you cannot have this defense, which is championship caliber, the weapons that you have. Garrett Wilson, offensive rookie of the year, Garrett Wilson, and Breece Hall. Breece Hall is sitting there pissed. He was so upset that he said, the reason that we lost is because I had 4 touches.
Yeah, why are you giving him 4 touches? How are we not getting him 15 to 20 every game?
It's because we're going 3 and out and looking stupid.
They got him. They have to make a move at quarterback. They have to do something. Trade for, I don't know, any team that's tanking. Get their quarterback. Get a backup quarterback. Like get Sam Darnold. They have to do something because right now, you can tell the team's frustrated because of what happened, and they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel where they're like, oh, but if we just do this and work hard enough, we can win. Like, no, they literally don't have the talent at quarterback right now. Trade for Mike White. Get him back.
Yeah. Once Kyler comes back, trade for Josh Dobbs. Like, do some you have to do something. And I think you have to do something sooner rather than later because we know the AFC is just going to be competitive. Like, there's a lot of good teams, so got to get it figured out and got to get it figured out fast.
Yeah, I mean, at least one positive for the Niners in this is that quarterback draft wasn't that great with Trey
No.
Lance. Trey, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields looks not great. Mac Jones has his weeks where he looks solid and probably the best out of that bunch.
Yeah.
But
But
let's
why trade for all of that again? Why trade all of that away just so you could be the number 3 pick? Like, that's stupid. But and it is what it is. You take the risk.
Colorado, Dion, prime time. You want to talk about prime time television? Colorado versus Colorado State. was the most watched late prime game on record in ESPN history and the 5th most watched game on ESPN overall. Colorado versus Colorado State.
Dude, it was electric. That was such a game. Uh, Primetime brings out all of the stars. He, like, really does pack the house at Colorado. And Colorado State did not back down. Jay Norvell, like, talked shit during the week about, like, "Oh, like, we're gonna go in there, and I take my hat and my sunglasses off, and we're old school, we get it done." But and I was like, "Why the fuck, as a 25-point underdog, would you talk shit like this? Why would you make it personal?" And he backed it up, dude. It was a hard-fought game. Yeah, there was some cheap shot bullshit. So Travis Hunter ends up having to go to the hospital. He says he has a lacerated liver because of that late hit.
Yes,
And
that was bullshit. That was
that
so
was
dumb.
bullshit. So, like, you gotta eject that guy after that. Like, that's ridiculous. They don't. Then on the was it during overtime or the last drive where I think it was the last drive, the who was it? It was Kamara hits Shador in the head, gets ejected for targeting. So you're gonna tell me it's a little bounty gate action here? You just how happen to have those cheap shots and those late hits on their best players? Come on, dude. Like, that's bullshit.
Yeah,
But
I wanted to see a full season of Travis Hunter.
yeah, I think, like, it would have been electric, but I mean, he's gonna miss, he says, up to 3 weeks. I think it's gonna, I don't know about lacerated livers, but 3 weeks seems like a, I don't know.
Quick, seems quick.
Yeah, but it was a good game overall. One that really kind of kept you guessing, like, damn, is, like, Colorado State really gonna win this? They're gonna pull
They
this
had
out?
a chance. They coulda just went for 2 at the end and won the game.
Yeah,
But, I mean,
but
you talk all that shit, act all cool, and then get scared to put it all on the line on that play. I mean, prime.
yeah,
Coach good
Shiloh
coach John.
Sanders had a pick six and then a late pass breakup to almost seal the game. Um, Shador had a legacy drive. He has to go 98 yards. He does it and gets the 2-point conversion. They tie the game. It was great.
Does them almost losing to Colorado State kind of worry you about the long term of this season with them? Like, how good are they really, or was this just hard fought rivalry game?
Yeah, I mean, well, if you look at it, this is a team that won one game last year. Like, one game. And now they're the most viewed game on ESPN ever. Like, this is fucking, like, this is uncharted waters for this team, for this program. This is Deion Sanders' first season in a Power Five. This is Shador's first season at Power Five. A lot of these guys come from a losing culture. So it is going to take you're going to take a couple licks, but I think that they do have the talent to make a pretty good push. Do I think they're going to make the playoffs? Probably not, but I think it's going to be one hell of a turnaround. I think that, like, even now, if they were to just lose every game from here on out, which I doubt they are, this would be a success of a season. This would be like, all right, cool. Like, we did it, guys. We turned around the culture. People want to come here. Colorado looks fucking lit. I'm sure their attendance numbers for the school itself are going to go up just
We
based off
we
this.
were looking at tickets to go to a game,
Yeah,
but
it's it
I
looks
just don't
cool.
know, how they're gonna fare against like a USC, some of these better teams.
USC, I actually think they could win because USC just doesn't have the defense to back it up.
I mean, no team in the college has the defense other than like 2 or 3 of the
The
teams.
SEC schools,
Yeah.
I think they're going to struggle. Do they play Washington? Is that coming up?
Let me
I
see their
think that's next
schedule.
week. Let
Colorado
me-
football schedule.
Yeah, I
We
think
got
they.
Oregon.
Oh,
Oregon, that's gonna be a great game.
that's a good
Or
game.
so they're going through they have a pretty tough schedule actually.
Yeah,
Oregon and USC, and then Arizona State, Stanford, and then they're gonna wrap up with UCLA, Oregon State, Arizona, Washington State, and Utah. So
yeah. I mean,
uh,
it's a tough schedule.
a
The
lot of ranked
Pac-12,
teams.
The Pac-12 is, I think they had the most of any conference as far as ranked in the top 25 or the most that they've had in years. So it's a good Pac-12. I wouldn't be surprised if they do lose some of these games down the stretch. Utah, UCLA even like but again, it's a turnaround year. This year is a success no matter what.
And they're only gonna get better with the incoming recruits and transfers, so exciting time to be a Colorado fan. I'm glad I'm a diehard since 2023.
Yep. This is the unofficial Colorado Buffalo podcast, baby.
Remember, we were there since the beginning.
Since the beginning.
All right, just want to wrap up here with the Deep Dig Disco, a weekly segment that drops every Sunday during the NFL season, where we talk about anything we discovered this week. It could be a show, it could be music, it could be movie, literally anything.
Yep. So before we get into it, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Of course, we are football guys, sports guys, but we have to have other interests. We have to do some other shit because you just can't be consumed by this 24/7. So my disco this week, it's a little iffy. It's a little out there. It is a movie called After Everything. It is the final installment of the After series. And if you are unfamiliar with the After series, this is a series of movies that was made from books that were fan fiction of Harry Styles. And I started watching this with my sister, her friend, and my fiance back when they first, I think the second movie came out, and they were like, "Have you heard of this?" And I was like, "No, what the fuck?" So we watched all of them up until this point. I think this is like the fourth or fifth movie. So we've stuck with the series. They released After Everything in theaters. It follows the main character, which is supposed to be Harry Styles, but his name's not Harry. After he breaks up with his girlfriend, who's they're off and on throughout this entire series. He travels to I think Portugal or Spain, somewhere in that region throughout Europe. And he's just making amends with his exes. He's out there living his life. A lot of this movie is played in flashbacks. I'm not gonna lie, it's a bad movie. It's a bad series, but it's one of those you just can't look away. It's like Lifetime movies where you're like, oh, my babysitter killed me. Like one of those. It's just check it out. If you just want some just garbage to watch with you and your significant other, check it out. Highly recommend.
All right, mine is definitely not a Harry Styles fanfic. Is that like how 50 Shades of Grey was
Yes, it
made
was.
from a Twilight fanfic?
Yeah, exact same thing.
All right. I have mine's kind of all over the place cuz I have so much TV to catch up on right now. Definitely like the Ahsoka series I want to watch. I want to see Hayden Christensen back as Anakin. Um the Daryl Dixon show.
In
So,
Paris?
yes, I want to say I'm a Walking Dead guy. I will preach to the end that Walking Dead has come back. The last couple seasons of the main show were great. If you're a Walking Dead fan and you kind of fell off after Glenn's
Departure.
departure, there's a season or two that not the best, but it comes back. It's great. Trust me, I will always preach this to everyone. Get back into The Walking Dead because the Maggie and Negan show spinoff was great. This Daryl Dixon show gonna be great. It already got renewed for season 2 before it even came out. That's how good they knew it was gonna be. But something that I started watching, the One Piece show. I'm an anime guy. I got the anime tattoos here and there. Um, haven't started One Piece as an anime, but everyone was so into the show, I kind of wanted to check it out. And for what it is, not bad. It's actually pretty good, and I've heard from a lot of One Piece fans that they love it. It's a little campiness to it, but like it feels like it knows what it is. It's not trying to be like we're the CW. We're campy, but we're cool. It definitely is like leaning into that. That I love the cast. They're fun. It looks pretty visually cool. Like there's some pretty decent fights. So I don't really know much about the One Piece lore,
Series as
like
a whole.
what's going on, but it's a fun show even regardless. Like I remember I was at home and like our mom was like watching the trailer and she was like, I kind of want to watch that show. And I was like, all right, she's gonna get into anime. Like I think it's good for everyone. So definitely check that out. And check out The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon. There's my plug.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Again, we really appreciate you rocking with us. Again, be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, be sure to drop some comments. We really appreciate it. Later.
Yep.